Crusader Kings 3 has just launched its new ruler designer with its most recent patch, and I've teamed up with Paradox Interactive to do this sponsored video to give you a comprehensive guide on how that ruler designer works. Now, this isn't a very in-depth, crazy guide, because for the most part, this is going to be really however you want to design your character. There are some numbers under the hood, though, that I want to go over to give you an idea of how to make not necessarily the best character, but perhaps the most optimized character for a possible Iron Man playthrough. So let's dive in here and get an idea of how to create your own ruler. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to select either the historical bookmark of 1066 or 867, and you'll see in the lower left corner, play as any ruler in 867 or create your own. So I'm going to select 1066 because it's my preferred bookmark. We're going to press create a ruler and we're going to dive in. So the way the create a ruler works is that you will be replacing one of the rulers on the map, and it can be anyone. There's no holds barred to this for the most part. I think the only one you can't really do is the papacy because it's a head of faith and it plays a pretty huge role in a lot of the game's mechanics. But you can replace the Byzantine Emperor. You can replace the Seljuk Emperor. So you have a lot of options here at your disposal. Let's go ahead and select the Byzantine Empire. We're going to press create your own ruler in the lower right here. So some things we have to be mindful of when we click this button. You have the ability to play as Iron Man in this situation. You can start the game and do achievements unlocked and do Iron Man if you so wish. And if you do so, you have to be mindful of this, your customization points. So your achievements limit is 400. You can jack this character up and make it so they have, let's just press all these buttons here, like a 50 in every single stat, and they're just really loaded here. But it'll make it so that your character cannot be an Iron Man character. So this is an example right here. It just lets you know that achievements are available in Iron Man when you have not used more than 400 points. So you have got that to kind of be your guideline, your shoreline, more or less. Let's start over here on the left side, and we'll move from left to right. And everything on the left, for the most part, is very self-explanatory. It's however you want to play your character. Do you want to be male? Do you want to be female? Do you have a specific sexual orientation you have in mind, or do you want to randomize it? Pretty straightforward. Again, your flavor, your choice. Now, faith is really fun because you can select a faith that is not existent or non-existent in the map right now. A good example would be Hellenism under Greco-Roman. So if you are trying to do the achievement to unlock and create the Roman Empire, where you have to convert to the Greco-Roman faith, you can do that right here as Hellenism. You might, and this is just kind of a cool little aside on this, it is very challenging to go from a reformed religion, especially a Christian religion, to an unformed religion. There is a 500% faith penalty to doing so. So if you wanted to create, say, Hellenism in your pursuit to making the Roman Empire, you could simply start as an unreformed faith that is not Hellenism. And then when you decide to create Hellenism, which will then hopefully convert all of your vassals in one fell swoop, you won't have to deal with that 500% conversion penalty. So that's a cool little trick you can kind of do to try and skirt around that conversion penalty. But let's just select Hellenism because it's cool. And you can select any culture you want on the map. And this is interesting too. So let's say you're playing in 867 and you're trying to establish the Bactrian supremacy. And you've got a character that maybe doesn't start in a location that is within the Afghan culture location on the map. Well, you can actually select it here from this menu and start as an Afghan culture and then establish the Bactrian supremacy if you so wish. So that's the cool thing about these faith and culture selections with the ruler designer, is that you can kind of skirt around some of the light requirements needed for some of the cooler or more unique decisions within the game. And I think that's a pretty fun little ditty there. Now, character name, whatever you so wish. You can actually kind of have it choose a random Greek name or whatever your culture selection is. Let's just choose Burmese. So you can have it be somewhat thematic if you wish. So that's pretty fun. Now, with the Dynasty and Realm flags, they have said that right now it's just simply going to be random generated. So that is unfortunate, But they have also mentioned that in the future, they hope to roll out more customization for this. They wanted to get the ruler designer in the hands of players and modders before they really tinkered too much with this. So hopefully we can see that coming in the future. But you can decide how your dynasty flag looks by pressing random. And it'll cycle through a certain set of fields and varying symbols that are, you'll notice a lot of repeat ones, but maybe you want a specific color combination, whatever it is. So you can kind of bop through this until you're happy. And the dynasty flag is in line with your culture. So let me select a new culture here. We have Burmese. You can see a lot of these are very similar. Select a new culture, just again to kind of show that off. Go Baltic, go Lithuanian, whatever. You see how this will change some of the ones, the random ones that we get that are more in line with what you see in those areas, in the Baltic areas of Lithuania. And then you can select different Byzantine Empire flags here as well. And these will also play in line with your culture. So very straightforward, but I did want to kind of talk about those because even though they are your own flavor and your own choice, and there's no right or wrong one to do on these, it can influence how that dynasty and realm flag look. So some other things now to talk about are these customization points and how age, traits, and skills all play into them because they do have a huge weight in this. So I'm going to bring our age down to 0. That was a creepy little character, so I'm going to bring this over. Now it's even scarier. That's a full head of hair at 0. And I'm going to show you how this kind of works. So right now, and I'm also going to bring our stats back down to 0 all the way. And we're going to talk about some of these numbers that are under the hood because they scale according to some of your traits and some other things here. So let's bring these down. And we're going to see we're at 0 customization points, right? And as we kind of push this up, it goes by 2 for every year up to 10. Watch 10 brings us an additional 4 points. Then it goes back to 2. And this doesn't really matter because for the ruler designer, you have to be 16. But what I'm trying to point out is that in order to make a ruler, he has to be 16. So you're already going to sink an automatic 40 points into this. So that is 10% of your achievement limit. So take a look at that as a kind of starting baseline. And you can see here, it'll give you a breakout of what your contributing points to the customization points factors are. So an example would be, I put 2 points in there and it shows me diplomacy 4. So as you progress up the age bracket, it will cost you more customization points, but then it will stop costing you customization points. So 24 to 28 is kind of your sweet spot. At 24, let's go to here, it'll cost you 67 points. And watch what happens as I press the forward age button. 25, 26, 27, and then 28. Still stays at 67. Now, after you go over 28, it's going to start going down points. Because basically, you're giving yourself a handicap, essentially, because you're taking less years off of this character's overall playability. Keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. And it will reach a point at 42 where it stops, and then it goes into the negative. So you can start to bank points at this point. So when you're creating your character, you can decide for yourself, do I want my first character to be one that I really want to optimize? I'm making him 16 years of age, and I'm going to try to fill out his life as best I can. Or do you put him in that 24 to 28 bracket and maximize the amount of customization points, bring it back to 28 real quick, being used on this character to say, okay, I have to make the most jacked education, personality, and other trait character I can, and then kind of go from there. Or lastly, do you try to say, okay, let's go ahead and make him 47, and let's give him a son. I already have my succession set up with 1 son. He's 50, so maybe he's married too, and that's all set for me. I don't have to worry about those things. I can set up the first years of my campaign succinctly because I'm not worried about whether or not I have a son, whether or not I'm married, and if I'm going to have more sons because I'm maybe quote unquote over the hill and I don't have to worry about popping out more kids. So that's the kind of cool thing about the ruler designer is you're not simply just making a ruler, you're setting up the beginning of your campaign. You're deciding how you want to optimize that. So weight will have no variance on your customization points, but here's where things start to get a little spicy. So we're going to bring this back down to 16. There we go. And you choose your education. And when you press that button, it's going to show you any tier 1 is going to cost 0 points. So you can say, hey, you know, we're going to be an indulgent wastrel, which is going to give us our base stewardship bonus. Or you can go up to Midas Touch. Now take a look at the corresponding value. It's going to go up by 20 for every tier after 0. So 20, 40, and then 80 doubles it up from tier 3 to that tier 4. Boom, right there. So this gives us stewardship of 8. And then personality also has a number of variants on this. So you can have really bad ones like shy, which reduce your points because it's a handicap you're building into your character, or some of the stronger ones like diligent, which gives you an increase to pretty much everything and a stress gain, as well as an opinion of lazy characters minus 10. That's going to cost you 40 points though. So let's go ahead and just select that. And then you've got some of the other ones here, like humble, which is going to help you out with your piety and whatnot. But ambitious is a pretty solid one for your ruler, right? You're getting a lot of really great benefits, a lot of really cool skill benefits. Let's select that one as well. And let's just go with, I don't know, trusting, compassionate. You can pretty much select anything at this point, but I'm just trying to show you these are the two that are probably going to give you the most skills. Well, let's say we want to make this character a really good warrior. We'll do that. We'll actually swap out the education trait for skilled tactician. In my opinion, unless you really want to go all in on that tier 4 education trait, I think the tier 3 one is a little bit better. You're saving 40 points for, let's take a look. Skilled tactician is 6 martial experience, or 6 martial skill, and 30% martial lifestyle experience. So you're paying double points for 2 more skill and 10 more % in your lifestyle experience. I just don't think it's necessarily worth it if you're trying to stay under the Iron Man 400 limit. We'll go with skilled tactician. Then other traits are your lifestyle traits, or the ones that you get from, say, lifestyle traits like these ones right here, or ones that you get from congenital, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and select, we'll go down to congenital ones because I'm sure these are the ones people are going to want to focus on. These have a pretty steep increase. They go from 40 to 80 to 120. But in the case of, say, intelligence, it goes 80 to start out, then to 160, then to 240. So you're doubling it every time you go up a tier in the intelligence bracket. And it does differ, right? So comely is 40, 80, 120. Quick is 80, 160, 240. And then hail is 60, 120, 180. So the game does put, of the 3, the beauty on the lowest bracket, I guess you could say, of importance when it comes to those 3 strengthen the bloodline traits. Let's just go with robust here, and that puts us at 310. So this character right out the gate has got some pretty solid skill setups for a martial focused character, and the game will tell you right here, this character has a strong physique, or where is it? Well, basically the higher the martial skill, martial and prowess, there it is. Increasing prowess will increase your muscle mass. So if you increase martial and prowess up, your character will get more and more yoked, as they say. Let's bring those back down to their base values. We can go over the skill section next. So as you can see too, since this increases your prowess, it'll make your character have more muscle mass. Now, unmarry this character and let's look at these skills. So skills, for the most part, are going to be however you want your character to be force focused. We're going to go with martial in this example here, but there is a tier system to this. For the first 4 skill points, it'll only cost you 2 customization points. So we're at 310, press this by 1, it goes to 312. It's going up by 2, we press this next one, another 2, and plus 4. So from 0 to 4, it's 2 points. From 4 to 8, it's 4 points. From 8 to 12, it's 7 points. 12 to 16, 11 points. And then every point after 16 total points invested into a skill is 17 points each. So this doesn't matter where your skill is. So this character has a martial skill of 11. I press this once, it increases it to 312. Diplomacy is at 1. I press this once, it increases it to 312. So it just simply goes off of the total amount of points invested is what's going to increase the per point cost per skill. So you can use this to kind of calculate how many points you really want to put into each and every location. So I'm saying we're a ruler, right? So we want to have some good stewardship. So let's bring this up to right around that top end. So we'll get right to there, yeah. So that's 8 points invested. So that leaves us at 4 points, 4 customization points per skill point. So that's a pretty good level right there. We're a warrior, so let's get some good prowess in. Bring this up a little bit higher. There we go. This last one is, yeah, so this is going to be our 7 points. As you can see, we're at 17. I press it one more time. It's 7 total points because now we're jumping into the 8 to 12 bracket. And you can hover over this at any time to see exactly where your points are being sunk into which locations. Like, okay, our stewardship is costing us 24 points, whereas prowess is costing us 28. We'll bring up intrigue just a little bit. We're going to keep that in the 2 bracket. No reason to jump to 4 there. Just want to keep it so we're not going to get completely killed. And same thing with diplomacy. And learning, though, we'll put a little bit more points into. Let's actually bring this down right there. Invest martial up. Get that to... Ooh, learning down one more. There we go. So you can see how we've balanced that 2, 4, 7, 11, and 17 point system so that we can get the most out of our character. This results in a character that has under our 400 point limit. He's got 17 martial skill, which is very solid. We could even spare a couple in our stewardship to increase martial. I would use stewardship to increase the amount of holdings I can personally own as the ruler. We have a good amount of prowess if we want to go into hand-to-hand combat and try and win some fights. You can really tweak these things however you want. This might be not the most optimized militaristic character, but it's however you want to design this. And then once you're done, you do have some other things you can do in changing the appearance. You can go all the way through all these lists here. And you can also even copy the DNA to the clipboard. So customize your character, then post it onto Reddit or forum, wherever you so wish, so other people can choose that character. Maybe you want to recreate a character from history, you want to recreate a character from a show, like The Witcher, whatever it is. We'll go with Mediterranean, customize further, and you've got a plethora of options to choose from here. I mean, every character in the world should be bald and bearded, but this character's only 16, so you can't do that until they're 17. You can't select their beard here. So this gives you a ton of customization options across all of the different cultural demographics in the game that you can then, of course, share across whatever platform you so wish. Now, once we're done here, we have the option to make this a Iron Man character. And it does say achievements are available in Iron Man again, but if it's not more than 400. So we'll click a couple of these buttons just to kind of spice things up. We'll press finalize. Finalizing your character is a one and done. It's done forever. And you can see it replaced that emperor on the map. We press game rules and then enable Iron Man. Close and play. And that's all you really need to do. It's a pretty straightforward tool, but I still think that breaking down the way that the age system affects those customization points, the way the stat system affects those customization points is really important to understanding how you can optimize the ruler designer in Crusader Kings 3. So hopefully you enjoyed this video here today. Again, huge shout out to Paradox for sponsoring this video. They even said you were going to do this anyway, but we figured we'd sponsor it and kind of help you out a little bit. So I'm very excited to really play around with the ruler designer, since you can get pretty creative with it. And you still have all the decisions that are set before you here. Restore the Roman Empire is right there. Nothing's changed by using. See, we're Greco-Roman of faith, which is cool. So we've already had that checked off. Like I said, this isn't going to affect any of your major decisions you wanted to accomplish in your game. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, all that kind of fun action. But have a good one. and take care.